Hi, this is Manish from Bay20.education, and in this particular video we will see how you can install Python on your machine and how to get started with it. I'll be using Python 2.7 throughout this course. So if you have some other version installed on your system like 3.5 or 3.6, which are the latest version, then you need to use 2.7, because a lot of libraries still support 2.7, and it is also recommended in the CBSE course, because it assumes that you're using 2.7 to run all your programs. So I'll be using the same one. If you most of the things are similar, so you can also run these scripts on 3.6, but some of these programs may give error on 3.6. So in that case you should know that why it's happening. So let's get started. This is the link where you can download Python from. I'm using Mac, so it Mac comes pre-packaged with Python 2.7, so I don't need to install anything. If I want to use 3.6, then I need to install it. If you're on Windows, you can go to this link, python.org downloads section. I have this opened, just a second. Yeah, so this is the section. You need to click on download Python and you'll be able to see the, just a second. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're on Windows, you need to go to the Windows section and it will give you a bunch of options. You can go to 2.7 release and you can download the version that suits you and install it on your system. So I'm pulling up the terminal. Okay, I have this installed already. So if you're on Mac, you can just hit Python and you see the version, Python 2.7.1. this is the version it's using. So we can test out if it's working or not. Yes, it's working perfectly fine. Now let's pull up the keynote. The first section that we'll be looking at is that there are two different modes that we can use Python console, or there are two modes that you can use for programming. One is interactive mode. Interactive mode is just this, what I did just now. Let's take a variable. I'll be explaining all these terms as we go. So I've taken a variable num and assigned 12 as its value. Okay, let's hit num. Now whatever I'm doing here is not being saved anywhere, so as soon as it's executed, it's being deleted. Or if tomorrow if I shut down this computer, or delete this terminal, I mean close this terminal, if I come back, I'll not be able to see this information. So this is what the interactive mode is. The other type of mode is script mode. Okay, in the script mode, what happens is we can save the script on a file and we can use that script and we can run our code. Let's comment this out. I've kept these sections to explain you guys the different data types. Let's comment it out for now. We don't need it now. Okay, so welcome to world of programming. Okay, this is a text. We need to enclose the text within double quotes or single quotes. Let's save it, and if you go and run this, you'll be able to see the output. Okay, now you see it's using 3.6 as default because my system has both the both the versions. So in this case, what I can do is let's exit from here. I need to go to the location where that particular file is, so I'll cg. So this is the file where that particular script is saved. So I'll just hit Python. I'll use tab to autocomplete this and run. So now you see the output. So if you're using a file to, let's clear this. Okay, let's run it again. Python and then intro. I've used tab to autocomplete this, and now we see the output. If you have multiple versions installed, in that case you can use this way. If I run this using Python 3 and then intro.php, in that case it will run it using Python 3, sorry. Okay, so that's not applicable for you if you have only one version of Python installed on your system. So I hope you have understood the interactive and script mode. Let's take an example. Let's do one more example where both script and the interactive mode will be used. So let's take an example. num1 is equal to input, let's say enter first number. Okay, the font is very small. num2 is equal to input enter second number, and then we can use a variable sum, and it prints out the sum of num1 and num2. So let's print this out. Okay, now let's save this and open up the console and try to run this again. Enter the first number, so I'm entering 10. The second number again 10. It returned 20. The stuff, like, you know, we have written and saved in the script mode, as well as we have used the interactive mode. The next section that we are going to discuss is variable. We have already used variable here. You know, this is a variable. You know, it has three parts, basically three things that that a variable has. And first thing is identity, which is basically memory location. You know, it's an address of memory. So whenever you assign a value, or whenever you use a variable, it creates an address in memory for that particular variable. It needs to have a value, and it will have a type like integer, string, you know, list, tuple, or something like that. I will go into details into all the data types in the upcoming videos, so you don't need to worry about it at this point if you don't know any of this. But at this point you just need to understand every variable have these three properties. You know, so let's go to our console and see. Let's hit Python again, which will open up the terminal. Now let's create a variable and assign its value 13. Now we want to see what is the identity of num, or the memory address of num. So in that case we just use id function and pass num here, and you'll be able to see a number. This is what an identity of this particular variable is. The second thing is type. So we can use type function and pass num into it, and you'll be able to see that this is an integer data type. Now if we again use a string, like let's pass my name here, And now if I use type and see num variable, it will give the data type as string. So I hope you have understood string. So the different data types that we will be discussing in the upcoming videos would be numbers would be integer, floating point, complex, boolean. So I'll explain in details about all these data types. Basically, integer is a whole number in positive or negative. A floating point is it's a decimal number like 1.02, 1.1 or something like that. Complex number would have two parts. One is imaginary part, one is real part. Boolean values are true and false values. Non-value is basically non-data type is basically a value which contains one value, um, and then there are sequences like strings, tuples, and lists. It's extensively used in Python programming, so it's very important to understand these concepts very well. I'll go into details and I'll provide you all the operations that can be performed, all these, the basic differences and things like that. Sets are there. Sets are also extensively used, and sets are basically, it's the same sets that you have learned in your mathematics books, like where you can perform operations like union, intersection, difference, and things like that. So it's a similar same concept in Python as well. So, and if you have not studied sets in your mathematics, so I will obviously explain the concepts in details in upcoming videos. The next data type is mappings and dictionaries. Dictionaries are also extensively used in Python. So these are very important concepts, the data types, and it's extensively used whatever you're doing in Python. So it's very important to understand these concepts very well at the beginning itself. Thanks for watching. Take care.